Hello and welcome to EBAday 2022 in Vienna. I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking and I'm talking to Andrew Hewitt of FIS Global about the NPA. Andrew, hello.
Hello, good morning.
We're just saying how nice it is to be here and not to be online.
Yeah, isn't it great? Probably the first thing we've done in 2 years face to face.
Yeah, it really is great. So I'm going to dive straight in there and ask you, what is the NPA?
Yeah, so the NPA, or New Payments Architecture, is a complete reimagining of the UK payment system. So around 5 years ago, a group of us were put together as an industry working group called the Payment Strategy Forum. And we came up with a design for what we thought the future of the central infrastructure for UK payments could look like. And the NPA is the realisation of that vision. What it's going to be doing is replacing the existing infrastructures that we have for both faster payments and for the back scheme, and modernising them. So moving away from the old ISO 8583 message standard in the case of faster payments and the standard 18 message format in the case of backs, and moving to ISO 222.
Okay, and you talk about modernising there. So what would you say are the key differences between the existing UK payments market infrastructure and the NPA?
Well, the first one I kind of touched on there, which is the move to ISO 222. But that on its own is I mean, that's nice, and it will give us a nice economy and a nice operational efficiency and better interoperability between international schemes. But for me, the real big benefit and one of the big changes is actually what you can do with that data, right? So we're getting some really interesting new data fields within the message that we don't have at the moment within faster payments, and certainly not within backs. So these are things like legal entity identifiers, identifying the organisation that a payment relates to, end-to-end transaction reference, or UETR, giving us better traceability across different markets, and then purpose codes as well, telling us what the payment is for. So a lot kind of richer data, but also new payment types as well. So we've got this new idea of an instant payment, which doesn't exist today. The idea behind the instant payment is giving a binary response, so a yes or a no. At the moment we have a kind of yes, no or maybe within faster payments. Now, if we have a yes or no with an instant payment, what we can do is we can actually use the payment for things like paying for a coffee here at EBAday or dinner this evening, because the merchant will know that the money is getting there. So what we might actually end up with is a market infrastructure that can truly compete with cards.
Lovely. So that is a lot of modernisation, new data, a lot of things happening. So how can participants in the NPA make the most of these changes?
Yeah, well I think for me it's about thinking beyond compliance, right? So look, everyone has to do this. There are 45 or so participants within the faster payment scheme. They all need to connect to this new infrastructure with the new message format, and then later on backs as well. You know, this move to ISO 222, that's kind of compliance and everyone has to do it. But if participants see this just as compliance, they're going to miss the real benefit. When we did the work with the Payment Strategy Forum back in 5 years ago or so, this was all about the extended data and how we can benefit as an industry and also as participants from that extra data. So when I'm speaking to participants, what I'm saying is, look guys, you know, yes, of course you have to do the compliance, but compliance pays, but then these extended use cases that you can do, this is really where the value is. So if we think about things like being able to make a better fraud engine or a better sanction screening engine, because we have better traceability with UETRs, because we have these legal entity identifiers with the data, and because we have a purpose code associated with what a payment is about, we're able to inform the fraud engine more and the sanctions engine from some of that data. So I think that's one thing that banks can do with the data. And then thinking beyond that, if we think about things like analytics, if I look to the card industry, which is kind of aligned, the card industry do a whole load of things around, right, this person has just spent some money here and here and here. I think that this consumer is about to get married or have a child or some other kind of life event. So imagine if I'm getting all this rich data coming from my payment system, putting it in a data lake somewhere, getting my payment information from a card system in as well. I'm more likely to be able to find trends with consumers and offer them better products and services. So yeah, for me it's about seeing beyond the compliance and really thinking about what you can do with the additional data.
And to touch on something you said earlier, you said better as an industry, so seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is an industry change. We must work together, both with Pay.uk at the centre and with other participants and technology providers to make sure that we're aligned around standards, because yes, we do have the ISO standard, but as a global industry, we haven't even agreed whether it should be said ISO 20022, ISO 20022 or something like that. So look, there are still some things around the edge that we need to agree, as participants and as technology providers around things like remittance standards to get the most from this.
And talking about getting the most from it, as FIS, what is your strategy towards the MPA?
Yeah, so first of all, it's to engage. So we're out there talking to as many participants as we can, some of whom are existing customers, really to understand, look, where are the challenges? Now, of course, we're going to produce software and service which will help participants connect and process transactions, but for me at the moment my engagement is very much at the industry level, saying where are the problems and trying to get this message across of, look, it's not just compliance, it's do something with the data to really get the value, and that's really where we are and where our proposition sits.
So moving beyond compliance and making the most of all that data that you're gathering.
Exactly, and yes, compliance, you have to do that still, but it's actually saying, look, now that I've done that, what else can I do with it?
How can we go that one step further?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, lovely, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.